The countless books found amongst the Dead Sea Scrolls, which makes up the Bible, mention several supernatural beings that once were on this earth interacting with mankind. Some of the most famous biblical figures are angels. The Bible mentions 9 different kinds of angels. However, there are a particular group of angels shrouded in mystery vaguely mentioned as the sons of God in the Book of Genesis. But these angels are much older than the Bible itself, and may have possibly even directly interacted with the inhabitants of ancient Sumer before the Dead Sea Scrolls came to be. The ancient Sumerian tablets are clay documents inscribed with cuneiform script, one of the earliest known systems of writing. These tablets date back to around March and were primarily used in ancient Mesopotamia, which is modern-day Iraq. Amongst these tablets are stories of supernatural entities that apparently physically interacted with human beings. One of the most notable of these documents is the epic Such of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh being an entity that was 2/3 human and 1/3 god, very similar to the Nephilim giants. Gilgamesh was also the king of this ancient town known as Uruk. However, the most intriguing of these clay tablets are the tablets explaining the arrival of divine deities known as the Anunnaki. These beings share an uncanny resemblance to biblical angels, and the Sumerian tablets share their own story of Genesis. The Igigi are a group of deities in Mesopotamian mythology, particularly from Sumerian and Akkadian traditions. They are often considered to be the younger gods and are distinct from the more senior Anunnaki. While their roles are less prominent than those of the Anunnaki, they play an important part in certain myths, especially concerning divine labor and rebellion. An Anunnaki, known as Enki, also referred to as the god of wisdom and creation, proposed a daring plan to fashion a being that could serve the gods by working the land and bearing the weight of labor. Gathering in their divine assembly, the Anunnaki agreed, and Enki set to work. Deep within the heart of the earth, in a sacred chamber, he and Ninhursag, the goddess of life, took clay from the ground, a symbol of the earth's essence, and mixed it with their own divine essence. This act was not merely one of crafting, but of genetic manipulation, as the gods combined their celestial seed with the raw material of the earth. The process was described as precise and sacred, akin to weaving a tapestry of life. They imprinted the codes of life upon the clay, altering the essence of the primitive beings already present on earth. The tablets speak of the binding of the essence and the breath of the gods that gave rise to a new being, humankind, capable of speech, thought, and devotion. However, the tale warns of unintended consequences. Enki, filled with compassion, granted humans the ability to learn and question something the other gods did not foresee. This divine spark, though a gift, led to rebellion and self-awareness among humans, setting them on a path that would forever blur the lines between servant and master. Thus, according to the tablets, the Anunnaki wove their essence into the fabric of humanity, creating a bond that would tie the fates of gods and mortals together forever. This act of divine intervention remains a cornerstone of Sumerian mythology, a story of creation, power, and the complexities of existence. The Book of Genesis not only describes this same incident, but these appear to be the same beings from the Book of Genesis if we're to historically perceive this event as truth. Basically, if I'm to simplify the story, the Anunnaki manipulated human DNA during the early stages, ultimately making humans a part of the angelic race. Instead of the Anunnaki creating Nephilim-type beings, similar to the angels in the Book of Genesis, they instead manipulated the entirety of humanity. The sons of God in the Book of Genesis are said to be divine beings that came down from earth to similarly manipulate human DNA. God, however, was not happy with them defiling themselves, and thus punished them accordingly. Once again, if we're to historically put these two stories together, what we get is a surprisingly similar revelation. With ancient Sumer being one of the oldest civilizations in history, and also having the oldest written language ever, this means this very story of angelic beings coming to Earth has been documented for thousands of years. But how true was this event, and what proof do we have that this in fact did occur? Well, we can view ancient Sumer as a reliable source due to the tomb of Gilgamesh, the supernatural being in the Epic of Gilgamesh being found. In 2003, a report by the BBC News came out, saying that the tomb of Gilgamesh was found by archaeologists in Iraq. America then invaded Iraq, seizing things like the Gilgamesh Dream Tablet. The Gilgamesh Dream Tablet, also known as Tablet 5 of the Epic of Gilgamesh, is part of the ancient Mesopotamian epic and contains a vivid account of Gilgamesh's dreams and their interpretations during his journey with Enkidu. In the context of the epic, the dreams are symbolic and foreshadow events in the story, often revealing divine intervention or warnings about their path. There are even some videos surfacing allegedly showing Gilgamesh himself perfectly preserved after thousands of years. This being also ominously has glowing eyes. Make of this what you will. I will allow you to decide whether it is true or not. Let me know what you think on the comments below. Modern speculation surrounding the Anunnaki is that they came from a planet known as Nibiru, which is directly outside of our solar system. Scientists have theorized the existence of a hypothetical ninth planet in our solar system, often referred to as Planet 9 or Planet X. This planet is believed to be a distant object far beyond Pluto, with a massive orbit based on gravitational anomalies observed in the Kuiper Belt. The heavens in ancient text can be ascribed to a number of different things, including the actual ethereal biblical heaven. Or it can be attributed to simply saying, the Anunnaki came down from the sky, which in ancient languages, it was common to replace sky with heavens. The theory suggesting that the Anunnaki were extraterrestrials originating from the planet Nibiru was popularized by Zecharia Sitchin, a controversial author and proponent of ancient astronaut theories. The truth of the matter may be much more simple than we'd like to admit. These ancient Mesopotamian deities looked remarkably similar to the biblical angels, particularly cherubs and the mysterious sons of God in the Book of Genesis. Although we're not extensively told about exactly what the sons of God looks like, we are told in more detail in the Book of Enoch how similar these beings look. For starters, the Anunnaki are heavenly beings with angel wings, and most believe they were extremely tall, ranging from 8 to 12 feet. This is nearly identical to how the sons of God, known as the Watchers in the Book of Enoch, was described. They're said to look very similar to human beings, with the main difference being their height. They are staggeringly tall as well, and we're even told they're the angels that made giants. What if many, if not all of the ancient encounters with these beings are part of the same incident that happened on a major scale? And all of the gods of ancient times were merely different angelic races. Not only were the Anunnaki documented in ancient times, but so were several other celestial beings, commonly regarded as gods. And similar to the Anunnaki, we can match these beings up with the sons of God in the Bible, and we get nearly an identical story. The most popular ancient civilization, ancient Egypt, has their own story about celestial beings. The ancient Egyptian pantheon consists of about 2,000 gods. Stories like the Book of the Dead detail interactions with gods in the afterlife and the weighing of the soul by Osiris. When we look at ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses like Isis, Maat, and Horus, are all depicted with wings, just as the biblical angels are described, and just as the Anunnaki are also described. Other ancient cultures, such as ancient Greece and Norse mythology, have a similar story with different deities. Even though these ancient beliefs are usually viewed as completely allegorical and nothing more, how can so many ancient civilizations that didn't even have contact with each other have nearly the same story? And all of them are merely symbolic for something much simpler. Do you believe that? Or were our ancestors actually giving true anecdotal reports about real-life things they were seeing? In Hinduism, there's even a Holy Trinity, just as there is in the Bible with the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But are these beings actually positive or not? Angels or fallen angels? Well, the answer is they're both. Not all of the gods and ancient beliefs are good. You also had more negative beings that match up perfectly with the Watchers in the Book of Enoch. These beings are responsible not only for creating Nephilim giants, but also teaching witchcraft to their wives and creating the first witches in history. This is most noticeable in ancient Egypt, where the so-called gods are responsible for teaching humans forbidden esoteric knowledge. Particularly, Thoth was often regarded as the inventor of writing and the divine scribe of the gods. He was also closely associated with the practice of magic, particularly in rituals of protection, healing, and divination, all things forbidden in the Bible. Thoth was believed to have imparted the knowledge of spells, incantations, and magical formulas to humans, especially through sacred texts like the Book of the Dead and the Coffin texts. Heka was not only the personification of magic, but also the deity who governed it. He was seen as the source of all magical power, and it was believed that humans could access Heka through rituals, prayers, and invocations. Heika's magical power was often invoked for healing, protection, and guidance, and he was central to the practice of witchcraft and the use of spells in daily life. Regardless if the magic was used for healing or relatively good practices, magic is still a demonic practice, which brings me to the conclusion that the Egyptian gods weren't just false gods, but they were fallen angels and even demons themselves. Other ancient beliefs, such as Hinduism, shares certain key similarities with their divine trinity known as Trimurti and the Christian divine trinity. The Hindu trinity has three distinct entities, the first being Brahma the creator, the second being Vishnu the preserver, and lastly, Shiva the destroyer. Although Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva perform different roles, they are understood as part of a unified cosmic order and are manifestations of the same divine essence, often referred to as Brahman in Hinduism. The three gods are different aspects of the same ultimate reality. Just as the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are distinct persons, but they are all co-equal and of the same essence, one God in three beings. This unity is expressed in the Christian doctrine of the consubstantiality of the Trinity. Each being in the Trimurti represents the different forces in the universe necessary for life and death. And regardless of the differences of the overall belief systems between the ancient world and the current beliefs we hold, the truth of the matter is nearly every culture on Earth shares these same stories of angelic beings interacting with humans. So there has to be at least some truth in these stories, at least in my personal opinion. Here's the most intriguing story that just may prove that celestial beings actually interacted with humans. The Dogon tribe of Mali, West Africa, is known for its rich oral traditions and mythology. One of the most fascinating aspects of their culture is their intricate knowledge of the Sirius star system, Sirius A and Sirius B, which has sparked interest and speculation among scholars, anthropologists, and astronomers. Sirius A is visible to the naked eye, while Sirius B is a smaller, dense companion star that is invisible to the naked eye. The Dogon calls Sirius A Sigi Talo, or the Star of Sigi, and Sirius B Po Tolo, meaning the Digitaria star. In their mythology, Po Tolo is described as being extremely heavy and very small, a description that aligns closely with the characteristics of a white dwarf star, Sirius B. You may be wondering how an African tribe possessing no technology knew about a star system down to the star Sirius B, which is completely invisible to the naked eye. Well, the beings from this constellation told them this information. According to the Dogon, their ancestors received knowledge about the Sirius system from celestial beings known as the Nomos. The Nomos are described as amphibious, fish-like beings who descended from the sky in a vessel and brought advanced knowledge to humanity. The Nomos were seen as teachers and saviors, imparting wisdom about astronomy, agriculture, and spiritual matters to the Dogon people. They taught the Dogon about the Sirius star system, including the existence of Sirius B, which cannot be seen without modern telescopes, and its dense, heavy nature. Although this story may raise skepticism, we have to look at the facts. The Dogon claim that their knowledge of Sirius A and Sirius B has been part of their oral traditions for many generations, potentially going back hundreds or even thousands of years. Sirius A, which is curious because Sirius B is a white dwarf star that cannot be seen with the naked eye. Also, I must highlight that the Dogon tribe had no access to modern telescopes. So how would they possibly have had such information? Unless they're telling the truth. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below.